Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Untold, ladies and gentlemen. It's the show you've known, you've loved for so many years now. We bring you a lot of amazing guests to talk with them, their journeys, their exceptional destinations, and the things that brought them here. Today we have Deville, who is an amazing personality. He's a director, cinematographer, photographer. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing episode, especially if you're on the artistic side of things. So with that in mind, stay tuned and enjoy the conversation. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here for another episode with Deville. So
Yes,
thank you again for joining us to continue the conversation from the last time.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Now, in the previous episode, we mentioned how you were studying, electricity, electronics, engineering.
Yes,
Now, you did come back to, education at some point in time, but rather than chasing any other thing, you went to business making.
yes.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the decision behind, chasing business?
So, what happened is, uh, after a long time staying in Kuwait, I've been around um, different kind of people in different kind of um, environments. And one thing that I've realized is that me doing this is not just a hobby. It needed to become a business, and I needed to know how to turn this into a business. And mostly for me to be in a certain kind of place, I needed to get a certain kind of qualification. I can I don't think you can stay in Kuwait without a certain kind of qualification, because a lot of things here needs you to have a certain kind of qualification. So I was like, okay, what if I get business administration curriculum for me to know more about the business, to learn more about the business, and also I should have a credit for other things that I can be able to pursue. So that made me go back to school and try to get a few papers for to support my career here.
And honestly, going back to school, going back to anything within the education is always, a great decision to make.
Yes.
But, speaking about great stories,
Hmm.
I hear from the production team that there's a great story behind your nickname, Andrew
Yes.
Deville. So
Yeah.
can you tell us, I would say a little more, can you tell us more about the story behind Andrew Deville?
So uh, what happened was the story behind Unreveal. It came from back when I was in uni. So when I was in uni, we used to stay in a commercial city, which is called Blanta, and most of the universities are there. So people from different cultures and different cities, they come to study there. So me, I was known as that person who lives around the same city for a long. I grew up there. I was born there. I grew up there, and at that time, my grandmother was working in an government organization, uh, which was helping, um, which was helping people, like saving people when there is a like floods, or there is a certain kind of incident that happens. So she was like the number one person who would go there and bring aid to help those kind of natural disasters and disasters as well. So at that time, she was moving around a lot. So she was going to Germany, she was going to the UK for business, and then when she came back, she was like, okay, I need to be more around where people are less privileged, so that we can be helping those kind of people, like building schools, building hospitals in those kind of areas. So she chose to move to a certain kind of rural area, so which is called Mzuzu, but it was in a rural area. Mzuzu is a city, but
Yeah,
she was sent
rural area.
to in a very rural area to be helping those kind of people. So we moved from Blantyre to that place, and it was nice. It was very nice, to be honest, to see uh, that kind of lifestyle as well. But mainly we were at school. Me and my sister, we were always in Blantyre at school. So when people um, wanted to know something about me, they would be like, Andre. So if somebody wants to point at me or something, or wants to tell a story about me, they'll be like, we're talking about this Andre. And then be like, which Andre are you talking about? Andre, the one from the Ville. The one that moved to the Ville. It's the village. The one that moved to the village. So they used to call it the Ville. So Andre from the Ville. Oh, Andre from the Ville. So I got famous as Andre from the Ville. So Andre from the Ville became my nickname from then. And then I was like, okay, let me shorten it up. And I was like, Andre the Ville.
And it just works. I mean,
it worked.
It's a great nickname,
Yeah.
with an even greater, backstory to it.
Yes.
Now, for someone who has been into so many things, you've studied engineering, the filmmaking, cinematography, photography, the
Yes.
business side of things. What are something, when you've tackled those, surprised you the most, especially about yourself?
Filmmaking, mainly because I've always, after pursuing this dream, I've always wanted to become more of a filmmaker than a photographer. So I think that would be filmmaking. Yeah.
Hey, mashallah, because I think it's one of the things that you've gathered all of your experiences and then you poured them into all of this, because
Yes.
what goes into filmmaking is all of the aspects from before have to
Yes.
be combined into all of this.
And also, I always feel like everything is going to go back 360 into fashion designing.
Now, you've mentioned in the previous episode and this episode, the thing about fashion. Is it a reasonable reality that at some point you are going to go back to designing fashion?
It's just a hobby now. It's just a hobby, something that I was always fascinated with clothes, and I just hate the idea of everybody wearing the same stuff. Like, you have different stores here, and they'll bring the same stock for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
When you move around in the street, everybody's just wearing the same stuff. I feel like everybody should have a privilege of having something that nobody else has. So that got me fascinated into fashion designing. And when I was doing fashion, I wasn't doing that kind of fashion of selling like a lot of stock of clothes. It was limited pieces. Like, if you want something, I'll design it for you, and it will just be only for you, not for anybody else. And that design will end there. But this time around, it's more of I'm thinking of something like culture, like mixing cultures and stuff. But I don't know if it is gonna work, or if it is just a thing in my mind.
I think there is a term for it, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was called fast fashion, where the idea of fashion has been commercialized so much in
Yes.
stores. I just constantly producing these mass-produced
Yes.
designs
Yes.
with zero style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't work with me.
Yeah, honestly, you always want to have your own spin, your own flavor and style, that represents you.
Yes.
And now, for people who might not know you on a personal level,
Yes.
what is something they might assume wrong about you?
That question is very hard because I've never thought of that.
We are gonna give you, a momentary release to think of that answer as we take a very little break. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, from that quick break. Now, Andre, I did ask you about something, before the break,
Yes.
if the people who might not know you on a very personal level, and now they're seeing you on the show, they're seeing you on the street, they're seeing you, back home. What are some things they might assume very wrong or incorrectly about you?
I think people might think that everything that I have and everything that I've achieved, I got it easily. Because mostly the community from my country here, they don't understand how I became from nothing to the whole filmmaker perspective of a person. They think someone, like, I just walked into the room and then someone was like, oh, you, I pick you. So I would say that most people would think that I got it easily. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is very shared, from so many guests we've had on the Untold. They
Yeah.
always say that, people see the success now or the image now, and they're like, oh, it must feel great to feel this and that. And they don't
Yes.
realize the years of hard work, the restless nights, the sleepless nights, the amount of
Yes.
times they had to, move away from something they love in order to chase something they love even more.
Yes. There was like sacrifice, and even currently, like people think, okay, you have it, that means everything is good. No, not everything is good. We're still striving, we're still struggling, we're still learning, we're still doing everything that we can to sustain our lives. Like I said before, discipline. Discipline is what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great approach to, the road to success
Mm-hmm.
is don't think of things or ideas or approaches as motivations. Don't look for encouraging words. Don't look for anything.
Yes,
Be disciplined, right?
exactly.
Have your routine, have your stuff. If
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling down, if you're feeling not feeling it, stick to your routine, stick to your discipline.
Yes,
And then patience, like we mentioned
yes,
before, is going to come to fruition.
exactly.
Yeah. Now, as someone who didn't go to film school, didn't go, through these classes, do you
Yes.
feel a burden that, you have even more stuff to prove for people in this kind of field?
Uh, for me, the only thing that I'd go to school for is to just get introduced to the filmmaking industry and the culture outside. Because what happens is, I feel like mostly when you go to a film school, you get everybody who is doing that stuff is in the same place. So you get most of the peers, and it's easy for you to find connections in the same field.
Yes.
So that would be the only thing that I'd go to school for. Other than that, I feel like I know enough, and I don't need to go back to school.
It is, honestly, I'm not sure which director said it. I think it was Robert Rodriguez
Hmm.
who made the Desperado movies.
Yes.
He said, the only reason I went to film school
Hmm.
is to make connections. I already knew how to make movies. And then, because the people you go to film school, and of course this goes to all,
Yeah.
all levels of education, the
Yes.
people you go to film school with today are going to be, the cinematographers, the sound
Yes.
operators, the editors of movies of the tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit of side brand to seek networking that way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to, photography, is it
Yes.
still something you do alongside filmmaking, or filmmaking now is your sole focus?
So I still do photography, and right now, I am I am collecting photos of Kuwait and mostly GCC. I'm trying to. I started doing something that nobody is actually doing.
Oh, mashallah.
So I wanted to create a book and an art exhibition of uh, aerial photography of GCC. So I started doing this maybe 2 years ago. I started taking pictures, aerial photographs of places in Kuwait in specific time.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
Not
interesting.
Yeah, not just going somewhere to take a picture and then this is it. No, the picture, it's in the specific time and the specific season. Like that would be the only picture that was taken that year at that time,
Oh, okay.
that weather, that season. So I
Oh,
started taking those kind of photography, and photographs. And later on, I want to turn them into a book. All of it, all of the pictures, they're going to have a story with the timing
with the
and
time.
yeah, of everything that I took. So right now, so far, I've done 6 pictures. 3 pictures they're in Kuwait, and the other 3 pictures they're in Bahrain. And then later on, maybe I might go to Qatar and UAE to do certain kind. But I'm just waiting for seasons to do this kind of thing because there's specific time that I want, like certain clouds to be there in the photographs. But if you see the pictures that I have right now, you wouldn't even think, like, nobody has saw Kuwait in that angle.
It is.
Yes.
And mashallah, I do love I wouldn't say the irony, but I would say the magical coincidence because pictures, it freezes time.
Yes.
But your idea behind, this whole project is to capture time.
Yes.
So, there's a little bit of duality within, those two.
Yes.
And then when it comes to your photography style, is it something, you've honed or, I wouldn't say learned, but something you've, taught yourself across the years, or do you still now go by feeling? Whatever angle feels right, whatever frame feels right is the one that you take?
So, after learning about photography, it just becomes normal. Once you have the eye of photography and you know a few tricks of taking pictures, everything just becomes normal. It just becomes your style. You don't even know that you're doing certain kind of things when taking pictures, and only the person looking at it, they'll be like, oh, this is a nice picture. And if it is a photographer, they'll tell you everything you've done there without you even realizing that you've done. So right now I just go with the flow, and usually here in Kuwait it's food photography and fashion now. Yeah, so I'm just going with the flow.
And speaking about going with the flow, do you find it a little bit hard to say no to a client's idea if it feels wrong, and then to implement your own, or is it something you've learned how to navigate through the years?
So through the years, what I used to do before, I used to take ideas from the client, but then I realized one thing. I never post any of my clients' work. It was so hard for me to post my clients' work because most of it wasn't, I always felt like it wasn't my best work because it was somebody's ideas, and at the end of the day, it didn't feel like a collaboration. It felt like me working for the client. So what I'm doing these days is I'm curating ideas and fusing them together, giving them to the client. If they have anything, they add into it. It's more of like a collaborative thing. It should feel like I did something and the client did something and then we did it together. In that way, it's making me be at peace. Yeah.
And so do you find it hard sometimes, because I know for a lot of artists, photographers, filmmakers, art in general,
Yes.
you have your vision, you have your, your visuals, you have your idea, and then it's easier for you to get that vision out. But do you find it hard to get the client's idea, the client's vision, the client's, visual representation of what they're talking about out on in a physical representation?
For me, that is not hard because one thing that I understood earlier about working with clients here, it's there is always a certain kind of quality that the client is always looking for, and you have to respect the culture here. So mostly, if you go with that flow, any client will agree with whatever you are trying to sell.
And speaking about selling the idea of the client,
Yes.
what would you say is a really difficult part about visualizing the ideas for the client? Is it actually coming up with a blueprint for whatever they're saying, coming up with the framing, with the blocking, because I know you said it's about food and the fashion, the way you arrange those kind of foods, the angles, the lighting differences and everything, are all of those is something now just feels natural to you?
So now everything feels natural to me, but these days I have help. Before I used to do everything by myself. Now I got the privilege of teaching other people how to do the same work. And now there is food styling, there is prop setting,
Mashallah.
there is a lot of things that goes into this kind of things, and you cannot do it alone. You always need a team. And now I also started working on like TV commercials, and in that field now you choose what you want to be in that framework that you're trying to make. So if you want to be a DOP or a director, I get to choose because I can be both.
Right.
I started with DOPing and now I do directing. So when I'm doing a project, I get the privilege of choosing what I want to be in the project.
Right. I think,
Yeah.
you know, the important takeaway from there is to have the right team and to
Yes.
not do everything by yourself. We're
Yes.
going to take a very quick break, ladies and gentlemen, but stay tuned after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with Andre Deville. Now, Andre, I do want to ask you about something. You know, it may be a little bit on the, you know, personal side of things, but you know, we've
Okay.
talking to you for nearly an hour now, so I feel like, you know, on a professional level, we're kind of buddies now. So, in your, you know, I would say, experience, you know, journey so far,
Yes.
what has been a experience that is a little bit humbly, you know, when it comes or professionally, an experience that it made me feel like, you know, oh, this is something, you know, I have to put my effort into it. I have to sweat for it. I have to work really, really hard for it.
Actually, right now it's getting clients because there is something that I'm getting to notice in that is happening mostly the whole GCC. Like people are used to, like most clients, they're used to working with the same kind of people, and it's a little bit hard for them to try something new. So if somebody wants something, they would always go to the same person rather than trying somebody new. Even if you have the greatest idea, they might like the idea, but then they wouldn't feel like you are the person to who is capable of like achieving that kind of idea. So what I've done in that, the idea that I've had to break the ground even is at least try to not take the work for other people, the ones that most clients they're used to working with. I'm like, okay, you're used to working with these people, you work with these people. What if we have a different ground of working together? What if I give you this kind of quality and this kind of cost, like cutting a little bit cost and giving them a little bit of average quality, and yeah, that is actually working for me right now.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's hard to get clients in the GCC.
And now, speaking about, you know, the difficulty of getting clients,
Yes.
you know, when the work is not coming along, you know, when the numbers are not as great as they were,
Yes.
when motivation starts, you know, going down, how do you deal with all this, you know, when it comes to the mental toughness of it?
So like I said before, discipline, and also sometimes it's good to just shut off and start focusing on personal projects, because I feel like personal projects, they help you to be confident in your work.
Yeah.
So when things get tough, I try to just start working on personal projects, and sometimes I do music.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah, I try to learn how to play piano, and I try to record myself just to get myself off
Yeah.
everything. And when I'm ready, I get back to business.
And I think music is a fine medication to all things related to stress. You know, it's a
Yes.
great, you know, building of patience. It's a great building block for a lot of things that can help you in the long run.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, also, when it comes to helping others, you know, especially on the long run,
Yeah.
you've grown accustomed to or wanted to create opportunities for others who are pursuing the same kind of, you know, journeys. So,
Yes.
can you tell us about the driving force behind your pushover to help these kind of communities, to help these kind of colleagues?
When I started doing photography and filmmaking, to try to do this, and if everything works out, I'll be helping the people who needs help. So alhamdulillah, God blessed me with the gift and showed me the gift, and now I feel like it's time to give back to the communities that don't have enough to pursue the same kind of dream that I have. So I decided to do this back home rather than doing it here, because here it's already hard, and I feel like it's already developed, and it's easier for me to do it somewhere where it is not developed.
And that's all honestly a very great cause to take it, right? And we do hope all of the best for you. Now, speaking about you personally, how
Yes.
do you define, success in terms of the goals you're chasing?
Um, for me, I define success as a journey, not a destination. So as long as I'm doing everything that I'm doing and it's working out, then I succeed. I'm successful.
I mean, I honestly, I do love that, right? Because so many times you hear people, trying to focus on the destination, they forget to enjoy the
The
journey
journey,
itself.
yes,
And oftentimes, whenever you do reach the destination, you find that the journey was the best part. The
exactly,
destination is not as rewarding.
exactly.
Yeah. With that being said, Andre, I do want to thank you for sitting with us again here on The Untold. Honestly, it has been great time talking to you. So I hope you had also a great time. I hope the audience have had a great time. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Had a great time.
Thank you. Alhamdulillah. With that, dear viewers, we are going to take a very quick break. And until the next break, stay tuned. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, all things must come to an end. That was our talk with Andre Deville. Honestly, a lot of great insight. If you're into photography, if you're into cinematography, especially if you're into directing, understanding the role that people play behind the cameras, all the wonderful staff that share you and bring you the amazing images that you're seeing. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. You've gained something from it. But until the next episode, it's goodbye for now.